Have you ever heard of a place where ships and airplanes disappear, where compasses stop working and strange lights fill the sky? It is called the Bermuda Triangle. For years, people have told tales about this mysterious part of the ocean. They say that something strange happens there, something we cannot easily explain. These stories make us wonder about the world we live in. Is there more to our planet than what we can see and measure? The Bermuda Triangle captures our imagination and has fascinated people for generations. We hear about brave pilots and strong ships that sailed into this area and were never seen again. What happened to them? Did they sink in a storm, or did something far stranger occur? The lack of answers is what makes this topic so interesting. This area of the Atlantic Ocean has become a symbol of the unknown. If you look for the Bermuda Triangle on a map, you will not find it. It is not an official place with clear borders. The name was created by a writer in 1964 after he wrote about the strange events in this area. The triangle is an imaginary shape on the ocean. Its corners are generally said to be in Bermuda, Miami, and San Juan, Puerto Rico. These 3 points connect to form a large triangle over the water. It is a very busy area for ships and planes. Some say it covers about 500,000 square miles. Others believe it is much larger. Because it is not an official region, its boundaries can stretch to include different incidents. This makes it difficult to study scientifically. If we do not know exactly where the triangle begins and ends, how can we say for sure what happens inside it? This uncertainty is a big part of the mystery. The strange stories about this part of the ocean are very old. One of the first people to report unusual things was Christopher Columbus. In 1492, as he sailed through the area that would later be called the Bermuda Triangle, he wrote about strange events in his ship's log. His crew was already nervous and afraid. What Columbus saw made them even more worried. One night, Columbus wrote that he saw a huge flame of fire fall from the sky and crash into the ocean. No one knew what it was, maybe a meteor, or something else entirely. A few weeks later, he reported seeing a strange light, like a small candle moving up and down in the distance. It seemed to be a sign of land, but no one could explain it. These sightings added to the growing feeling that this part of the ocean was different. Columbus's reports are some of the first recorded mysteries of the region. The legend was born. Over the centuries, countless ships have vanished without a trace in the mysterious waters of the Bermuda Triangle, leaving behind only questions and legends. The stories of these disappearances have fascinated sailors, historians, and adventurers alike, fueling speculation and wonder about what really happens in this enigmatic region. Each tale adds another layer to the enduring mystery, making the Bermuda Triangle one of the most talked about maritime enigmas in the world. One of the earliest and most puzzling disappearances was that of the USS Pickering in 1800, a naval vessel that simply vanished while on duty. The Pickering carried a crew of 90 men, all experienced sailors, as it set sail from the east coast of the United States, bound for the West Indies on a routine mission. After entering the region now known as the Bermuda Triangle, the ship disappeared completely, never to be seen or heard from again. No distress signals, no debris, and no survivors were ever found. Some historians believe a powerful hurricane may have claimed the ship, but the total lack of wreckage or evidence has kept the mystery alive for generations. Another famous case is that of the SS Cotopaxi, a large steam-powered cargo ship whose story has become legendary. In 1925, the Cotopaxi departed from Charleston, South Carolina, loaded with cargo and a crew of 32, heading for Havana, Cuba. Spirits were high as the ship set out on what should have been a routine voyage. But somewhere along the journey, the ship and everyone aboard vanished without a trace, leaving families and authorities baffled. For decades, the Cotopaxi was considered one of the classic unsolved mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle, its fate debated in books, documentaries, and around campfires. Then, in 2020, a breakthrough came when marine biologists identified a shipwreck off the coast of Florida as the long-lost SS Cotopaxi, finally providing some answers after nearly a century. It turned out the ship had sunk outside the triangle's most commonly accepted borders, challenging some of the myths that had grown around its disappearance. These stories show how legends can grow and evolve, even as new evidence comes to light and old mysteries are slowly unraveled by science and exploration. Sometimes, the truth behind these disappearances is less mysterious than the myths suggest, but the allure of the unknown remains strong. Yet, despite new discoveries, the stories of vanished ships continue to fuel the legend of the Bermuda Triangle, inspiring curiosity and caution among those who venture into its waters. The ocean keeps many secrets, and perhaps some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved beneath the waves. Perhaps the most famous and haunting story about the Bermuda Triangle does not involve a ship, but 5 military airplanes that vanished without a trace. This incident has puzzled experts and captured imaginations for decades, becoming a symbol of the triangle's enduring enigma. This is the story of Flight 19, a routine training mission that turned into one of the greatest aviation mysteries of all time. On December 5, 1945, 5 U.S. Navy planes took off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on what should have been a simple exercise over the Atlantic Ocean. The weather was fair, and the mission was considered straightforward. The planes were TBF Avengers, strong and reliable torpedo bombers, trusted by the Navy for their durability and performance during World War II. There were 14 men in the 5 planes, led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, an experienced pilot and flight instructor. The mission was simple: fly east, practice bombing runs over a designated area, then turn north, and finally head back to base. It was a routine that had been completed many times before, but this time, something went terribly wrong. The planes never came back. A few hours into the flight, Lieutenant Taylor radioed that he was lost, disoriented, and that both of his compasses were malfunctioning. He sounded increasingly anxious as he tried to navigate. The other pilots, following Taylor's lead, were also lost. Confusion spread among the group as they struggled to determine their position. The weather, which had started out calm, quickly turned for the worse. Heavy clouds rolled in, rain began to fall, and radio transmissions became harder and harder to hear. Controllers on the ground tried desperately to guide the planes back, but the pilots seemed to be flying in the wrong direction, deeper into the vast Atlantic Ocean, away from safety. The last radio message was faint and garbled, filled with static and fear. Then, all contact was lost. After that, there was only silence. The planes and their crews had vanished. A rescue plane carrying 13 more men was immediately dispatched to search for Flight 19. Hopes were high that the missing airmen would be found, but in a shocking twist, the rescue plane also disappeared without a trace, adding to the tragedy and deepening the mystery. Despite an extensive search by air and sea, no wreckage from Flight 19 or the rescue plane was ever found. Not a single piece of debris or sign of the men was recovered. The disappearance of Flight 19 quickly became headline news, and a key part of the Bermuda Triangle legend, fueling speculation and theories for generations. It left behind more questions than answers. To this day, the story of Flight 19 endures, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that still lurk in the Bermuda Triangle. Not everyone who has a strange experience in the Bermuda Triangle disappears without a trace. While many stories end in mystery, some people are fortunate enough to return and share what happened to them. These survivors become living witnesses to the Triangle's secrets, and their accounts are both fascinating and chilling. One of the most incredible and puzzling stories comes from pilot Bruce Jernan, whose experience has become legendary among Triangle tales. In December 1970, Jernan was flying his small Beechcraft Bonanza with his father and a business partner, making a routine trip from the Bahamas to Florida. It was a flight he had made dozens of times before, and the weather seemed normal at first. But on this particular day, something extraordinary happened that he could not explain, something that would haunt him for years. As Jernan flew, he noticed a perfectly round, donut-shaped cloud formation directly in his path, something he had never seen before in all his flying experience. Deciding to save time, he chose to fly straight through the mysterious cloud, hoping it was just a harmless weather anomaly. Inside, the sky changed dramatically, turning a dark gray-yellow color, thick and murky, almost like flying through dense pea soup. Suddenly, his navigation instruments began to malfunction. The compass spun wildly, and the plane's gauges gave impossible readings, leaving him disoriented. Jernan felt a bizarre sensation, almost as if gravity had loosened its grip and he was floating weightlessly inside the cockpit. With visibility nearly gone and his instruments unreliable, he was flying blind, unsure of his direction or even his altitude. Then, as suddenly as it began, he emerged from the cloud tunnel and was shocked to find himself much closer to the Florida coast than he should have been. Gernon believes he experienced a distortion of time itself. What should have taken much longer seemed to pass in an instant, as if he had skipped ahead in time. His story, filled with strange clouds, malfunctioning instruments, and lost time, adds a new and truly bizarre element to the ever-growing legend of the Bermuda Triangle. The stories about the Bermuda Triangle are exciting, but scientists look for logical answers. They have several theories that could explain some of the disappearances. One powerful idea is the existence of rogue waves, massive walls of water that can form suddenly in the open ocean. These waves can be over 100 feet tall and could easily flip over a large ship or break it into pieces in an instant. Another theory involves the weather. Meteorologists have noticed unusual hexagonal cloud formations in the Bermuda Triangle area. These clouds can create powerful downdrafts of air, called air bombs. Air bombs can hit the ocean with incredible force, creating winds up to 170 miles per hour and waves as high as 45 feet. Such a force could destroy a plane or sink a ship very quickly. Scientists believe these natural phenomena explain many of the disappearances. The ocean is a dangerous place, full of surprises. Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction, but the legend lives on. Beyond science, there are many other theories about the Bermuda Triangle. Some sound like they come from movies or books. One popular theory is that UFOs are involved, with aliens capturing ships and planes for study. There have been reports of strange lights in the sky and objects moving at incredible speeds. Another famous theory connects the Bermuda Triangle to the lost city of Atlantis. According to legend, Atlantis was an advanced civilization that sank into the ocean. Some believe its power source is still active on the ocean floor, releasing energy that disables ships and planes. These ideas mix ancient myth with modern mystery. They fuel the imagination and keep the legend alive. Whether you believe them or not, they are part of what makes the Bermuda Triangle so fascinating. The stories never end. The Bermuda Triangle is the most famous mysterious triangle, but it is not the only one. Around the world, there are other areas with similar legends of strange disappearances. One such place is the Michigan Triangle, located on Lake Michigan. The Michigan Triangle has its own collection of spooky stories. In 1679, a large sailing vessel vanished on the lake. In 1950, a commercial airplane with 58 people disappeared from radar and was never seen again. No wreckage was ever found. Another report from 1883 tells of large blocks of ice falling from a clear sky in this area. Just like the Bermuda Triangle, the Michigan Triangle remains a place of unsolved mysteries.